Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're talking about OddTaxi. Because recently, it has been getting quite a bit of attention on what a masterpiece it is of what people are saying. People even going as far to call it Anime of the Year for 2021. So I saw all this attention that the show was getting and thought, let's see. That seems interesting. Let's see how good this show is. This show really worthy of being considered Anime of the Year for 2021? That's what we're going to discuss in this video. Because if I'm being honest, it might be. OddTaxi might just be a contender for Anime of the Year for this year. And you guys already know, I already have two shows battling it out for that #1 spot. OddTaxi might be a third show that's battling for that #1 spot. But what is it about OddTaxi that makes it so great in the first place? Well, for me, it's the themes the show touches upon. Now, just to give you some context, the image on screen, the main character is the walrus. You can see he is the taxi driver. He's 41 years old, and his name is Hiroshi Odakawa. The guy next to him is Taichi, a university student that wants to get famous on social media. And if you look just outside the back window, you can see a guy looking directly at the taxi. That is Dobu. He is a criminal and a very important part of the show as well. So the themes that this show touches upon are, well, I've already mentioned one. Wanting to get famous on social media. That's one of the big things. Taichi is desperate to go viral on social media. But nothing he has ever done has worked to go viral. So what he tries to do is he takes that photo that you are literally seeing on screen right now of him and Odakawa, and the photo ends up going viral. Not because of anything Taichi did or Odakawa did, but because Dobu, the criminal that the police have been looking for a very long time, happens to be in the photo as well. That's what made it go viral. So Taichi basically devoted himself to trying to catch Dobu. The theme that it shows here is how desperate people are to go viral on social media and what they will do in order to succeed at that. He stopped going into university and he devoted himself planning on how he's going to catch Dobu. He even started making a YouTube series on it, and he put words like shocking and injury in brackets in the title. So Taichi clearly knows how to play the YouTube game. He knows what words to put in those titles to bump up those views, which I thought was quite funny. Another theme that is very prominent in the show is addiction. As a character known as Takana had been very obsessed with this game called Zuden, where he wanted this extremely rare dodo bird because it was a game where you could basically raise animals, and he wanted this extremely rare dodo bird. And he spent thousands upon thousands of yen over multiple years trying to get it, and he never did. To where he basically shut everything else in his life out because he was focused on this one thing. And then he finally got the rare dodo bird. But just as he did, Odakawa happened to be driving straight past him in his taxi and almost ran him over, which made Takana drop his phone, and it broke. And when it got fixed, and all of his data was back, but because he hadn't gone off the menu of getting the dodo bird, and he hadn't proceeded onto the next screen to where the game registers he has the dodo bird now, he didn't have it. So from that point on, he made it his sole goal to murder Odakawa, and wow, those were some intense scenes. He shot a bullet, he shot into Odakawa's house, smashing one of it, which smashed one of his windows. He broke the window of Odakawa's taxi. He even shot Dobu at one point, because it so happens that this person 16 years ago that had conned him out of 100k yen was called Ditch 11, and it just so happened to be Dobu. And he shoots Dobu right at the end of the show. And Odakawa leaves Dobu to die because he was always planning on taking Dobu down himself, even though he was having to work with him to complete a bank robbery in order to save someone. The next theme it covers is obsession. It shows a character called Imai, who is obsessed with this idol group called Mystery Kiss, and specifically the central singer, Nikaido. He is very obsessed with her. He goes to he's like the only fan that will always turn up to every single one of her concerts. And something I actually found quite interesting about this idol group is they actually mentioned the Budokan. And I was like, oh cool. That's the first time I've ever heard an anime mention the Budokan that isn't K-On! So that was interesting. But yeah, his addiction almost got him killed. Well, no, not addiction, obsession. His obsession with them almost got him killed because he ended up winning the lottery. And the people that Mystery Kiss's boss was working with almost had him killed. So the theme there is to show you that no, you probably shouldn't become too attached to an idol group or a single idol singer. I can think of someone in real life who did that. I'm not gonna tell you, but I bet you lot can figure out who I'm referring to. Right, next theme. Blackmail. Basically, Dobu blackmails Odakawa and a nurse at the hospital he goes to, called Miho Shirakawa, who, oh boy, I just need to admit, is one really fine alpaca. She is so adorable. If you've watched the show, you know exactly who I'm on about. Basically, she had a lot of debt that she was trying to Dobu, that she was trying to pay off. And this included her stealing medical supplies from the hospital, which Odakawa and Odakawa's doctor figured out. But then Odakawa was having to work with Dobu in order to save his friend Kakihana, who will get on to him. And then to complete a bank robbery for 1 billion yen, which is what Imai won from winning the lottery. which is what ended up getting Dobu shot, because Odakawa always wanted to take Dobu down himself, but he didn't know quite why. But he didn't or have the perfect opportunity until Takana gave that opportunity to him by shooting Dobu and then running away, of which Odakawa then left as well in his taxi. And the operation name of robbing the bank, or stopping Dobu's rivals from robbing the bank, which is what they were trying to do, he called it Operation OddTaxi, which is where the show gets its name from. Now we will get on to Kakihana, Odakawa's good friend. Oh boy, Kakihana, I don't want to feel sympathy for this guy because of how stupid he is. He is 41 years old, just like Odakawa, and he matched with an 18-year-old girl on Tinder who happens to also be part of Mystery Kiss, but it's not the central singer that Imai is obsessed with. It's one of the others. And she manages to trick him into coming to a place coming to where Dobu's rivals are in their hideout, on which they knock him out, tie him up, beat the crap out of him, and well, if it wasn't for Odakawa, he'd probably have died. But yeah, it's like, I think the theme the show is tackling there is how girls as young as 18, she didn't even seem desperate for love, but we'll just use that as the example. How 18-year-old girls are so desperate to feel validated by someone that they'll go on Tinder as young as 18 to try and get romance. And again, am I the only one who feels it's really freaking creepy that Kakihana was 41 years old and the girl from Mystery Kiss is 18 and Kakihana does not see an issue with what he's doing? Mate, you were in your 20s before she was even born. But and I don't think it's not just me. And probably the final theme, and the theme that is explored consistently throughout the show, is Odakawa's illness, because in the penultimate episode of the show, it's a big backstory episode that Odakawa was actually human at one point, or he saw himself as a human. He saw everybody else as a human, but he didn't like interacting with humans very much. He would much rather interact with animals. And then one day he was in a night drive with his mom and dad, and their car crashed, which ended up killing his mom and dad, and he survived. And when he woke up, he saw himself as a walrus, not a human, and he saw everyone around him as an animal, not a human, which was very interesting. So, in reality, all these characters are actually just humans, but Odakawa could only see them as animals, and himself. Because he said when he was a kid he would much rather be a walrus than a human, and then he literally became a walrus. Then he had a very similar accident when being chased by the police, when he drove straight off an unfinished bridge into the sea. Which means Shirakawa had to go in and save him. And I was hoping it would play some music from earlier in the show when Shirakawa demonstrated her Brazilian martial arts techniques. Some funky music started playing, which I thought was hilarious, and I was hoping it would play again, but it didn't. So she ended up saving him. He woke up in the back of an ambulance, and Shirakawa and Goriki, his doctor, looked human to him again. And everyone around him looked human, as everything went back to the way it was before. But possibly one of the smartest and most clever done things in this show is a scene where Odakawa is giving Shirakawa a ride in the taxi, and neither of them are speaking. The two of them are completely silent. But the only audio that you can hear is the radio. Neither of the characters are speaking. It's just the radio audio, which I think that is so clever. To have a scene where the actual characters in the scene do not speak, but you have the radio as the only audio instead. I think that is such a well done scene. And yeah, all those themes are very real world feeling themes, and anime does not tackle real world themes that much. Well, not to the degree that this show did. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Do I believe OddTaxi is worthy of being an Anime of the Year contender? Yes. Yes, I do. All the talk about it being a potential contender is pretty valid. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, tell me what you thought of OddTaxi if you've seen it, and if you haven't seen it, you really should. But until next time, catch you later.